It's strange how the people who make the world laugh the loudest often carry the quietest battles inside. When you think of Goldie Hawn, you probably picture that unforgettable smile, the playful eyes, the infectious giggle that once lit up movie theaters across America. But here's the twist most people never expected. The woman who made millions forget their worries was never trying to become a Hollywood star in the first place. In fact, she once admitted something surprising. She didn't even like the idea of Hollywood. To her, the industry felt chaotic, artificial, even a little broken. Yet somehow, the very world she questioned would turn her into one of its brightest icons. And that's where her story truly begins. Goldie Hawn entered the world on November 21, 1945, in Washington, D.C., in a home filled with music, discipline, and quiet heartbreak. Her father, Edward Rutledge Hawn, was a professional musician and conductor with deep European roots. Her mother, Laura Steinhoff, ran a dance school and came from Hungarian Jewish immigrants who carried both tradition and resilience in their blood. But behind the rhythm of music and dance was a silence the family rarely spoke about. Before Goldie and her sister Patty were born, they had an older brother who died young. The subject was rarely mentioned, yet the absence hung in the background like an unfinished melody. Even as a child, Goldie seemed to feel that invisible weight. Maybe that's why she found comfort in movement. At just 3 years old, she stepped into her mother's dance studio. Tiny ballet shoes, wooden floors, and the sound of piano keys became her early world. By the age of 10, she was already performing in the Nutcracker alongside the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo. Imagine that moment. A little girl standing under bright stage lights, realizing for the first time that an audience could hold its breath just watching her. But life rarely moves in straight lines. By 19, Goldie shocked many around her by leaving American University before finishing her drama studies. Instead of following the safe path, she opened her own ballet school and began teaching dance. It was bold, risky, and very telling. Even then, she refused to live inside other people's expectations. Then came the moment that changed everything. At 21, with only $250 to her name, Goldie boarded a plane to California. $200 of that money had already gone toward buying a tiny poodle. That left her with almost nothing. Imagine flying across the country with just $50 in your pocket and no guarantees. During the flight, she wrote something in her diary that revealed her mindset. Looking out the window at the endless sky, she wrote that if anyone ever doubted the existence of God, they should sit in her seat and look at the horizon. The future felt that big. But reality arrived quickly. On her way to Las Vegas for a dance job, the 1959 Chevrolet convertible she had bought broke down in the middle of the desert. Suddenly, she was stranded with $50, a small dog, and miles of empty road stretching in every direction. Many people might have panicked. Goldie did something different. She trusted the moment. She accepted a ride from a hitchhiker, a Green Beret soldier recently returned from Vietnam. The stranger drove her safely across the desert. They talked, laughed, and spent one brief afternoon together before he dropped her off at the desert inn. Just like that, he disappeared back into the world. Goldie would later remember the moment not with fear, but gratitude. Life, she realized, often gives you strange companions when you need them most. That same fearless attitude followed her into Hollywood. Her first television roles weren't glamorous. In the late 1960s, she appeared in the sitcom Good Morning, World, where producers quickly labeled her the dumb blonde. Cute, bubbly, harmless. Hollywood loved putting women into tidy little boxes back then. But Goldie wasn't planning to stay inside one. Everything changed in 1968 when she joined the wildly popular sketch show Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. Suddenly, millions of Americans were watching her every week. She danced in bright colors, delivered goofy punchlines, and giggled her way into pop culture history. To viewers, she seemed effortlessly funny. But behind that laughter was a sharp mind studying every opportunity. Then came the film that changed her life. In 1969, she landed a supporting role in Cactus Flower. It wasn't supposed to be a career-defining moment. The film had a modest budget of about $3 million. Yet the story resonated with audiences, eventually earning over $25.8 million at the US box office, an impressive number for the time. More importantly, Goldie's performance stole the spotlight. When the Academy Awards arrived, something extraordinary happened. Her name was announced as Best Supporting Actress. The funny part? She wasn't even there. Goldie was in London filming another project and had completely forgotten the ceremony was happening. At 4 a.m, a phone call woke her up with the news. Imagine that moment, half asleep, realizing you've just won an Oscar. On stage in Hollywood, Raquel Welch accepted the award on her behalf while Fred Astaire presented the statue. For most actors, that would have been the peak of their career. For Goldie, it was just the beginning. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, she kept pushing against the stereotypes that once defined her. Films like The Sugarland Express, Shampoo, and Butterflies Are Free showed audiences she was more than a comedian. But the real turning point came in 1980 with Private Benjamin. Hollywood executives had laughed at the idea. A comedy about a woman joining the U.S. Army, starring and produced by Goldie Hawn. Studio leaders reportedly said no one would pay to watch that. But Goldie believed in the story. She fought to produce the film herself, refusing to let the idea die. The result stunned everyone. Made for $9.2 million, Private Benjamin earned nearly $69.8 million at the box office and received major award nominations. Suddenly the dumb blonde stereotype was shattered forever. Goldie had proven something powerful. Sometimes the greatest success comes from believing in a vision no one else understands. But fame doesn't protect anyone from personal storms. Her early marriage to dancer Gus Tricone struggled under the pressure of her rising career. They eventually separated in 1973. Later, she married musician Bill Hudson and welcomed 2 children, Oliver in 1976 and Kate in 1979. At first, their family seemed joyful and carefree. Yet success created tension, and the marriage ended in divorce by 1982. Many people might have become cynical after that. Instead, life surprised her again. In 1983, while filming Swing Shift, Goldie reunited with an actor she had first met years earlier, Kurt Russell. When they first crossed paths in 1968, she was 21 and he was only 16. Too young, she thought at the time. But 15 years later, everything felt different. What captured her heart wasn't a romantic line or grand gesture. It was the way Kurt played with her children. She watched him interact with Oliver and Kate so naturally that something clicked. That quiet moment told her more about his character than any speech ever could. Their first official date was chaotic and unforgettable. After a few drinks, they decided to check out a house they were considering buying. Without a key, they accidentally triggered a security alarm and ended up explaining themselves to the police. A strange beginning. But sometimes the best love stories start with a little madness. Goldie and Kurt chose never to marry. Not because they lacked commitment, but because they believed love should remain a daily choice, not an obligation. Decades later, they are still together, one of Hollywood's longest-lasting partnerships. Their blended family grew into something remarkable. Oliver Hudson became a successful actor and podcast host. Kate Hudson rose to international fame with films like Almost Famous. Wyatt Russell, Goldie and Kurt's son born in 1986, also stepped into acting and built his own career. Through all the fame, success, and conflict, one truth remained constant. Goldie Hawn never stopped being herself. Even in recent years, when she appeared at the 2025 Academy Awards at age 79, audiences were reminded that time touches everyone. At one moment on stage, she joked about struggling to read the teleprompter because of cataracts. Some viewers laughed. Others felt a wave of concern. But the honesty of that moment said everything about who she still is: real, unfiltered, and fearless about aging. And maybe that's the real lesson hidden inside her story. Life isn't about staying perfect under bright lights. It's about continuing to smile even when those lights start to fade. Goldie Hawn spent more than half a century making people laugh, but her greatest achievement may be something simpler. She never let the world decide who she should be. Not when Hollywood tried to stereotype her. Not when relationships collapsed. Not when critics underestimated her. She kept choosing her own path. And if there's something powerful you can take from her journey, it's this: the most unforgettable people aren't the ones who avoid struggle. They're the ones who transform it into something meaningful. Goldie Hawn did it with laughter. And somehow, that laughter is still echoing today.